Want to make sure your build is 100% prepared for when the MALIWAN takedown comes out? Well, today you're going to want to make sure you get the ZANE CRYO build so you can annihilate the enemies. This is LaserBolt and welcome to today's video, guys. Today I am bringing you my LaserBolt Cryo build, Mr. Freeze, Unstoppable, whatever you want to call it, guys. This build is going to have you fly through the MALIWAN takedown like nothing. This build is like nothing you've ever seen before. It is an updated version of my Cryo build, and it's just super awesome because you're going to be able to do a lot of damage. And it doesn't really matter what type of enemy you're fighting, whether it be a flesh, which is red bar, whether it be shields, whether it be armor. You're just going to be annihilating everything that comes your way. As you guys are seeing here in the gameplay, we are taking enemies out like nothing, like butter. I could even do this with my eyes closed. That's how crazy this build is. Now, I know that some of the pieces I'm about to show you currently right now within my build are going to be a little bit hard to get. And I actually want to help you guys get this build done, but I want to ask for your guys' help as well. Let's get this video to 200 likes, and I will upload this build with every single piece found in my build for you guys to download so you guys can be ready for the MALIWAN takedown. So let's help each other out. Drop them likes and share this video with your friends. And without further ado, let's jump into this build. But before we get started and I share the build with you guys, I do want to remind you guys that we are giving away one free copy of Borderlands 3 for the system of your choice. To enter, it's super easy. All you got to do is like this video, share this video, and drop a comment with your Twitter handle. That's all you have to do to enter to win. All right, everybody. So now it's time for us to dive into the skill tree and find exactly what's going to make this build go super duper powerful. We're going to be tapping into all the skill trees: double agent, hitman, and also undercover. Let's get started with the hitman tree. Now, for the hitman tree, we're going to be dumping 5 points into violent speed. What this is going to allow us to do, it's going to make our character run super duper fast. And this is synergizing very well with violent momentum. The reason why this synergizes very well is because we'll be moving fast, and if we're moving, our gun damage is going to get increased while we're moving. The quicker we move, the greater the gun damage bonus we get. Now, remember, if you are playing with ZANE, you want to be constantly moving. I emphasize this every single time I do a ZANE build, because I've seen a couple of people who stream, people who do videos, is they are just standing very static with ZANE and not moving, and they are losing the potential that violent momentum has. Next up, guys, we're going to be dumping 1 point into cold hand, and this is just going to give us reload speed after we kill someone. You know, I wouldn't be investing on this one if the weapons we weren't using didn't have like a really high reload time that you have to reload very often. So I do want to make sure we're investing at least 1 point here because it's going to help us out quite a lot. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into drone delivery. Drone delivery is actually pretty good, and you would think this one doesn't proc that often, but it actually procs very often, and it becomes very helpful with this build. And with the grenades we're running, you're going to see how often this procs and how effective it is, because it does help you out quite a lot, especially freezing the enemies and keeping them at bay. Next up, guys, we're going to be dumping 2 points into salvation, and salvation is going to give you life steal every time we kill an enemy. It's crazy how much this procs, but with this build right here, you will almost never go down. And this build is just very potent, and having that extra life steal, or that, you know, like extra cushion to make sure you're not dying, is very helpful. And last but not least, on this tree, guys, we're going to be picking up Death Follows Close. All of ZANE's kill skills gain increased effect and duration. Now, we aren't spending any skill points on the ones in the bottom, and that reason is because our class mod is actually giving us these, which are Violent Violence and also Playing Dirty, and also Good Misfortune. So we're going to get all these for freezies since our class mod is active. Next up, guys, we're going to go to the Undercover Tree. Now, for the Undercover Tree, guys, we are going to be tapping and putting 5 points into Adrenaline. Now, Adrenaline is really cool because it's going to allow us to have our action skill active constantly, and it's going to kind of bring our cooldown rate to plus 35. Really good. Next up, guys, we're also dumping 5 points into Brain Freeze. Now, Brain Freeze, what it does is that anytime we hit a crit hit, it's going to slow down the enemy, and it's also going to freeze the target, which is going to be very important. You're going to see how effective this is and how important it is to have this one here, because it avoids you. It kind of helps you control the whole mobbing aspect of the game, and it keeps a couple enemies at bay. Next, we're going to be dumping 3 points into Stiff Upper Lip. and this is going to give you damage resistance. Now, with the MALIWAN takedown and the stuff that we've been practicing for the MALIWAN takedown, we do note that there are going to be a lot of enemies exploding and they're dropping radiation, dropping fire, so you want to make sure you have that damage resistance. Next up, guys, we're going to be dumping 4 points into Rise to the Occasion. What this is going to allow Zane to do, it's going to give him health regeneration. The lower our shield is, the higher the bonus for our health regen is going to be. It's going to give you that nice survivability, and like I said, with this build, you're hardly ever going to go down. Next, we're going to be spending 1 point into Confident Competence. What this is going to do, it's going to increase our gun damage to plus 20, and it's also going to increase our accuracy to plus 33. Really important, especially for the weapons we're currently running. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Really Expensive Jacket. What this is going to do, it's going to apply the status effect duration to a -50. Really important, especially for when we're doing the MALIWAN takedown. We're also going to be dumping 1 point into Best Served Cold. What this is going to allow Zane to do is whenever we kill an enemy, the enemy is going to create a Cryo Nova, once again enhancing our Cryo build even more. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Futility Belt. It's going to give us damage reduction, and after we kill an enemy, all the elemental damage Zane takes is converted to non-elemental damage. This one is going to be extremely important for the MALIWAN takedown, because I believe with this one, what it's going to allow us to do, it's going to allow us to nerf the shield troopers, because remember, when we shoot them, they're going to be shooting us back with whatever element we're shooting, so I think this is going to pretty much nerf them. So I hope this does proc when we're actually playing the MALIWAN takedown. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Refreshment. What this is going to do is that whenever Zane damages a frozen enemy with his weapon, he gains some sort of that damage back as health. This is what makes us be very tanky with this build, because there are going to be a ton of enemies frozen in the battlefield. Then we're going to be dumping 1 more point into Calm, Cool, and Collective. Whenever Zane freezes an enemy, his shield instantly begins recharging. We are going to be doing a lot of freezing, so our shield is going to be coming back very often. Since we're already here in the Undercover Tree, we're going to go ahead and equip our barrier. We're also going to be picking All Rounded. Basically, that is going to give us a whole bubble for us to go in our shield. And we're also going to be picking up Deterrence Field. Now, you're going to want to pick up Deterrence Field because the troopers tend to charge at you. And a couple of the other enemies that we're going to be experiencing in the MALIWAN takedown, they're going to be charging at you. And once they hit that shield, their shield is also going to be going down, because you're going to be able to bring it down, because this is allowing you to do that. In addition to that, guys, if you are in a close quarter combat and people have shields, you can just easily bump them, and that's going to bring their shield down as well. So it's really important to have this one active. And for our last 10 points, guys, we're going to go into the Double Agent Tree. So for the Double Agent Tree, guys, we're going to be spending 5 points into Synchronicity. This is just going to give us more gun damage. It gives us a plus 10 per active action skill. Our action skills are going to be live and active and kicking very much throughout the whole time we're playing. So this is going to be extremely important. And the last points, we're spending them into Donnybrook. What this is going to allow us to do, guys, once again, increase our gun damage and also help us with the health regen. And that pretty much covers the skill tree. Now, the only last thing you need to pick up is pick up the Sentinel. And you want to make sure you equip that. We're going to be picking up the Winter's Drone. What this is going to do, it's going to convert the Sentinel into cryo damage. And we're also going to be picking up Bad Dose, which is going to be extremely potent for when we go into the battlefield. Now let's take a look at the gear and what's going to make this build super duper OP. Alright, so here is what we have as far as our gear. For the first weapon we're running the Maggie. Now the cool thing about this particular Maggie, of course, it's its anointed perk. While our Sentinel is active, gain 50% of damage as bonus cryo damage. Really important, because our Sentinel is going to be active the majority of the time. So we're going to be able to tap into that extra cryo damage. The next weapon we're running is this one, the Binary Mocking Cussman. While your Sentinel is active, fire rate is increased by 9% and reload speed is by 23. Now for this one in particular, guys, if any of you guys have the Cutsman and you have it with the Sentinel is active, gain 50% damage, bonus cryo damage, can you please do me the huge favor, guys, of sending it to me via mail so I could include it in my save file, because I still haven't been able to get one of these. If you guys do have it, I would greatly appreciate it. It's going to make this build even more potent. But as of right now, this is the one I have. Now, the reason why we want to run the Cutsman is because whenever we run into yellow bars and for some reason our Sentinel is not active, it becomes very effective. Even though the Maggie puts in the work regardless, if the enemy has yellow bars, but you do kind of have to have your Sentinel active to put that much work. Then we're running another Maggie. Now, I'm going to explain why we're running another Maggie. So this is another Maggie that says, while terrified, deal 50% bonus damage. So for some reason, if our Sentinel is not active, we have another Maggie ready to rock and roll, giving us, once again, that extra bonus damage when our Sentinel is not active. This is only when your Sentinel is active. One thing I want to recommend, though, so you won't mess up, is do what I did, which is I changed the colors of my Maggie so I know which Maggie I have out when, certain things are happening. So if my Sentinel is active, I know I have the pink Maggie. If my Sentinel is out, then I know I have the Terror Maggie, which I went ahead and applied this neon one just to make sure I know which Maggie I have out. It's going to be very helpful so you guys know what type of damage you're doing and when you're doing it. The next weapon I have is the Roland's Call, and this one's another one that I wish that had the same perk. While terrified, deal 50% cryo damage. So if you have a Roland's Call with that anointment, I would greatly appreciate if you guys could mail it to me so I could put it for this build and everybody could have like a super duper OP build. This build is super OP, but now you could get a super duper OP build if we were just to get those extra 2 weapons with those anointments. Now that you guys know the weapons I'm currently running, I do want to let you guys know this build kills bosses really good. Now, if you're struggling, because we haven't seen what the MALIWAN takedown is going to actually look like, and we probably will change a couple things in this build as far as weapons for bosses, I do have a recommendation. So what you want to do is do the quick swapperoo, and that is put a really powerful rocket launcher. So I would go with anything like the Scourge or, a really powerful rocket launcher, and then you're going to also want to equip the Unforgiven. Basically, what you're going to do is shoot your rocket launcher, switch to Unforgiven, and that's going to give you a ton of bonus damage because it's a Jacob's weapon, and you'll understand why that is. So now let's continue with our shield. For our shield, we have the Transformer, and then we have, while terrified, gain increased damage and fire rate. The more terror you have, the higher the bonus. It's going to be extremely important because what this is going to allow us to do, it's going to allow our weapons to have additional bonus damage while we're terrified. So it's really powerful, and we're going to tie this in perfectly with our grenade, which is the recurring Hex on action skill and apply terror to yourself every second for the next 18 seconds. So every time our Sentinel or our barrier goes down, we're going to be applying that extra terror effect, and that is when we want to use these 2 weapons and tap into that extra while terrified gain increased damage and fire rate. So extremely important. Now what makes this build even more powerful is this class mod right here. As you guys see right here, we got the plus 25 weapon damage, plus 45 Jacob weapons critical hit damage. So that's going to be putting us at 70% just by using a Jacob's weapon. So that's a lot of damage. And we're using 3 Jacob's weapons. So we have the Maggie and we have the Roland's Call. So we're getting 70 additional percent just for that. And we're also, if we're using the Maggie, adding an additional 31%. It's giving us over 101 total extra damage just by using this class mod alone. In addition to that, we're also going to be tapping into our kill skills, so it's super duper powerful. And the last but not least, guys, to tie this build completely together, guys, we're using the Icebreaker Auto Idle. Now, the cool thing about this one is that it increases our magazine size, so our magazine's going to have extra magazine size. It gives us additional weapon accuracy and plus 27 cryo efficiency. The only thing I would change about this one is if there was a possibility that I could get the plus 40 weapon damage, plus 27 cryo efficiency, and one with a plus 16 extra cryo damage, that would be extremely OP and God roll. So if you guys do have that one, sharing is caring, mail it to me. It's at Epic LaserBolt, so I would greatly appreciate it to put this whole build together. Like I said, I want to share this whole build with you guys, but I need your guys' help. Let's try to get this video to 200 likes. If it does, I will share the complete build with you guys. So how exactly do you want to go about playing with this build? Well, it's super easy, guys. You want to throw your barrier. You want to deploy your Sentinel. Go ham with the Maggie. You almost are going to be using the Maggie the majority of the time. Whenever you do happen to run out of your barrier or your Sentinel, then you're going to want to make sure you apply that terror effect, go back to your Maggie or the Roland's Call, and you guys are going to be doing a ton of damage. If you are fighting a boss, you can still use any of these weapons because they are extremely powerful. But if you want to do a more efficient way, you could do the old swapperoo, which is either shoot the rocket or shoot your Cutsman, and then switch over to the Jacob's weapon. and that's going to be doing a ton of damage. Overall, in general, I believe this build is going to wreck and destroy anything that Maliwan has for us. As you guys see here in the gameplay, I am obliterating all the enemies, and this is on Slaughterhouse 3000, which is the practice round for the Maliwan. So anything that comes my way, I will be able to annihilate. Now, if you guys are like, Laser, how come we don't have a build for Moze? How come we don't have a build for Flak? How come we don't have a build for Amara? I will have all those builds ready for you guys before the event. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications so you guys don't miss the builds. And I will catch you guys on the next video.